Welcome back to another session of Late Night Games. This is Paul playing Shogun 2 Total War once again with Dave. As we were last time and playing as the Date clan, he is Tokugawa. Where we left off, Dave had decisively defeated his only enemy at the time, which is why he has no enemies listed. They had struck his castle, fell before his armies, and then he took the battle to their home, raiding their castle, and gently taking it from them, caressing its people gently like the back of a soft, warm honey badger. And now he has two
warm honey badger.
Have you ever pet a honey badger? They're pretty soft and warm, and they have a lot of extra skin. But that's neither here nor there.
If you have the time after you're done watching this, I suggest looking up the honey badger. It is one crazy animal. Now, I'm about to make a demand of Paul, and let's see what he says.
He is demanding 5,000 koku from me.
To gain a favorable opinion.
I will make a counter offer.
A modest amount of gold.
They want a modest amount of gold.
Just a modest amount of koku. I need to feed my peasants, and my armies, and my wives, I'm sure. Or wife, singular. No.
No, you don't want me to offer a regular payment of 1223 to you?
It's not actually giving me any options here. I'm not sure why. I think we might have just broken the game.
Oh, I didn't actually make the proposal. I was just creating it. I'm going to decline.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Alright, so we were in the diplomacy screen there just so we could talk without having to worry about the timer constantly ticking down on us.
Yeah.
So this
now,
is
Paul, I'll make a suggestion to you for when it does become your turn. Be aware that while you're marching your armies into the Ugo Province there, he is actually able to be recruiting units. So you may face a tough battle ahead with the army that you do have. Just so that you're aware. There's no shame in retreating from a battle you can't win as well. So maybe you might have to regroup if the battle proves to be too challenging. That being said, I am going to recruit some units and end my turn.
I also just set to recruit 2 samurai units and 2 bone units within my capital. In case I do face a counterattack, I do not want to be led the same way the Owari clan was.
Yes.
They were the ones that you casually snuffed under the sole of your boot like a well-smoked cigarette.
That was a good one.
I come up with them once in a while.
Oh yeah.
Alright. Now it is my turn. Construction is complete of my harbor. And the Oda clan was destroyed. I'm going to move into Uga. Yes, because that sounds wonderful. Now, move forward. There we go.
Ooga booga, mooga meeple, dance around like jungle people.
And I cannot attack this turn because he is just outside of my range by that little tiny amount. So that means I will not be attacking until next turn. However, what I can see from as close as I am, you can't normally see what's in a castle until you're in close proximity. As I am in fairly close proximity, I can see this castle has currently 2 units within it. Against my army, which is suffering some atrophy, but thankfully not too much. Excuse me. I should still be able to effectively take him down.
Provided, of course, he doesn't have armies in range to come back and reinforce himself. But I do believe he might be at war with another clan, which is causing him to
spread his units a little too thin. Yes, I think his units are too thin. He also has 2 provinces, however, so that will give him an advantage for counterattacks, because he probably has at least something in his alternate province. Now, while we're waiting for my next turn, since we did finish that harbor... Oh, he actually just retreated from his own home. Did I see that right?
You did see that right. He does have another province to defend as well, the Uzen province to the south of where you are now.
He has pulled all armies out of Ugo, and he has 2 separate armies, one with 4 units, one with 3 units, both sitting on benches right behind me, because, you know, that's what us warlords do when we're standing outside of the enemy's castle. We pull up a Hollywood-style studio chair and we have a seat.
Hmm.
Now, here's my harbor. I'm going to pull the harbor up, because at the harbor I can recruit additional units. I'm going to recruit a Kaboya. A Kaboya is a small boat covered in archers. The archers having the ability then to fire at enemy boats. I'm also going to build a medium boon. A boon is, well, when somebody owes you a great favor, but that's not the type of boon I'm referring to here. The boon in the case of this boat, which I may be horribly mispronouncing, probably am.
Bune.
Bune. That sounds French, Dave. They're Japanese, not French.
It is Bune, though.
I'll take your word for it, because you're probably a lot more educated on this than I am. These units are filled with soldiers. Now, this was in a time before ships had cannons, or at least before Japanese ships had cannons, or large artillery, or nuclear weapons, or aircraft carriers. So the way the boats did combat was they pulled up alongside each other, and they had soldiers jump from one to the other and try and kill each other. Or they had soldiers stand there with a bow and arrow and try and kill each other from afar without getting the boats side by side. Or they went at ramming speed and just rammed into each other. Boat combat was basically an inelegant, off-balance version of land combat, where the land that you had to use was limited as the planks of wood beneath your feet.
That's very correct. Very different. I'm just currently in diplomacy with the Kitabatake clan, who are my neighbors since I have just destroyed the Oda. And I've entered into a trade agreement with them. Now, one thing that you can do in this game is if you're offering something good, for example, I have more goods to offer as I have horses and stone in my possession, I can ask for a payment, and they actually gave me 1,250 koku. I also did that before when I entered trade agreements with the Saito and the Kizo clans, which are my neighbors to the north. It's something Paul will be able to do once, of course, he takes out his mortal enemies, the Mogami. Now, I just have one more thing to do here.
As I do start on the furthest northern point of Japan, which is the far northeast of this map, I am a little more cut off from the other clans than Dave, who starts kind of smack dab in the middle. Starting smack dab in the middle means you can have multiple allies, but multiple enemies. I, being as far up as I am, mean they can only really come from one direction, below me. Not to be confused with below me, which was not what I intended to say, but I realized how much it sounded like that when it came out of my mouth. Wow. Wow.
Would you like a shovel, my friend? Anyways, are you ready for your turn?
I am ready. Yes, Dave. For the love of God, give me my turn so I can stop talking.
Probably a good idea to keep talking.
Now, as you just saw with that alert, I have a food shortage. Now, this is something I saw coming while Dave was on his turn. indicated by the -1 blinking red down here in the bottom right corner of my screen. That means I am projected to have -1 koku, or -1 food supply per turn. I also have mastered the art of Bushido and am now studying the strategy of defense. I'm going to change that. And, instead study the strategy of attack. Now, what I was doing to counteract the food shortage I was running into, because I upgraded to a castle, my castle town to a stronghold, was I also built improved irrigation on my farmlands. It's going to take 3 turns, so for 3 turns, my people are going to be unhappy. Actually, quite unhappy. The food shortage has yet to affect the town's happiness, but it will start to affect it as time goes on. Global food supply is also negatively affecting the growth of the town. Lower growth means the town will start to downsize, and I will collect less taxes from said town. Now, let me take Ugo, which does have a unit of samurai retainers. I am going to assault. Which shouldn't take too long.
And I will, of course, spectate. Now, given that he only has 1 unit of bows, he may actually need to storm the castle itself, but shouldn't be too difficult to take. Since we skipped over the last battle of this nature, we'll probably show you this one just so that you have an idea of how these kind of easy battles go.
Also, you'll see how it is to take over a castle. Oh, hey, look,
That's
a castle. Actually, look, it's the Chrysler logo.
It is a Chrysler logo of sorts.
Or is that the
All
Chevy
rights
logo?
go to Daimler Chrysler, of course.
Or is that Chevrolet's logo?
You're right, it is.
It is
So,
Chevrolet.
all rights go to Chevrolet.
Yes.
I'm certain that Sega didn't intend to imitate the Chevrolet logo, but they may have done so accidentally.
Yeah, because I said Chrysler, and then I realized, no, that's on the front of my one car, and my car's not a Chrysler, it's a Chevy. Ugh, I hate that car.
That's okay.
Alright, so I'm not going to bother
It goes.
planning this out nicely. I'm just going to move all my units forward. And I'm going to grab my archer unit. I'm going to have them fire on the enemy who's at the far back.
Now, just while Paul's fighting this battle, another feature of this game, or another mechanic of this game, is the traits mechanic. Generals and daimyo and other leader type units can gain traits, as can the support units, Metsuke, Ninja, Geisha, and
Monks.
Monks or missionaries, depending on which is your religion. Now, in order to gain traits, they generally have to perform feats of certain nature. I know in my previous experience, gaining the Brave trait, which gives +1 morale to all units under that particular general's command, storming a castle generally allows them to gain a good trait such as Brave or Heroic or whatnot. However, it's a danger sending 30 units after 35. It is something that you can do early on to gain your general's ranks. The other thing is the honor system. Each daimyo has an honor rating, and each of his subsequent generals has a loyalty rating. And if the loyalty rating drops below 0, a general will generally take the armies that he has and revolt against you. If the daimyo's honor is less than 0 or very low, you'll find that it's more difficult to keep the morale of your units high, and it's more difficult to maintain public order in provinces controlled by your clan.
For the glory of the daimyo! Archers, loose your arrows! Sorry.
That's fine. That's fine.
My archers have been firing quite regularly at these little samurai. However, as you can see, none of them have died yet because they're behind the wall. Scratch that, 2
And
just
as you
died.
said, that 2 of them bit the dust. 3.
And an additional one. They decided to move halfway across the battlefield, which was their mistake, because now they're in a position where my archers are making good strikes. Down to 41.
Now, Paul, if you actually zoom in on your units who are climbing the walls, you might actually get to see a few of them fall. You do lose units climbing walls.
Ah! So, basically my units are clumsy.
Clumsy, and it is difficult to climb a wall. It's
Come
almost
on,
as
it ain't so hard to
vertical.
drive a wall. Hard to climb a wall? There are people that do it all the time. I mean, look at this guy here climbing a wall. He ain't got no problem. He ain't worried about falling. And sorry, Dave, you have no idea what I was referring to there. You'll see later.
I assumed that you were zooming in on a single one of your units. Now, Paul, you may want to use your Yari Samurai and just give them their boosted speed ability. It should help with the climbing of the wall and the engaging of the Samurai Retainers.
I also rallied all my units under the glory of the Daimo. I'm also going to have the Daimo dismount and climb the wall. There are currently 25 of the 45 Samurai Retainers remaining. And those Samurai Retainers are dying and fatigued.
For those of you who watched the last episode, I'd just like to say that marriage is definitely worth it. My wife just brought me a sandwich.
You lucky bastard. All I've got here is a mug of water and a cup of coffee with espresso. I ain't got no wife bringing me no sandwich while I play games.
I'm sure if you wanted to, by this point you probably could have. I don't know. But, yeah. Sandwich is good.
But then I'd have to give up, you know, my not being married. Oh, that one little Samurai Retainer, I'm watching him in the corner here. I'm gonna throw a little circle around him. He's, sitting there kicking units back and back-flipping out of the way. I have to say, he may be the enemy, but I'm rather impressed with this guy's behavior. I mean, jeez. That little man's just trucking on. Let's see if I can get a better look at him. And my camera just went wonky. And I think he may have died while I was trying to get to him. Yeah, he died. He was like their last unit to go down, too. Damn, that guy was swanky. Almost as swanky as a swanky Batman. Oh, God. Dave, please don't ask about the swanky Batman.
You know I have to now.
No. There's this video I saw earlier today on Newgrounds. And it made my brain hurt. Just go to Newgrounds and look for swanky Batman. You'll find it.
Will do.
I don't know what I did. I hit play, and I saw the video, and it looked cool, and then suddenly I lost 205 units against his 45, but he only killed... Oh, right. The lost units don't just include the units I lost in battle, as he only killed 102. The other ones lost are the ones who fell, and the ones who died due to the winter.
That's correct, yes.
Now, I can peacefully occupy which gets me predicted town wealth and public order of a small amount, but I get no money. Or I can loot the town, which makes everyone upset. It damages all the buildings and makes my daimyo not a happy daimyo. Of course, I'm not going to loot the town. I'm not a horrible, cruel man. I'm just a guy who wants to take over all the towns through military might.
Note that looting a town will decrease your loyalty and honor ratings based on who you're using to loot the town as well.
That's correct. That's why I said it makes the daimyo not a happy daimyo. That's what I meant by that. Currently, it shows that all the units are healing. Every turn, they are... replenish units. Currently, it shows this unit will be fully replenished in 4 turns. This one in 12 turns. 12, 10, and 1. So it's going to take quite a while for all my units to replenish. Unfortunately, they're the only ones I have to defend Ugo. And my enemies are right on the Ugo's front step, as they walked out to the front step before I attacked.
Ugo is definitely contested territory, and as proof,
they are attacking. Is he attacking, or is he simply sieging me? Nope, here's the battle deployment. And he has more units than I do. He also has 2 sets of bow units. So this is going to be a difficult battle. I may not survive.
He actually has 3 bow units because he has the bow samurai and the 2 bow ashigaru.
That's not a bow samurai, that's a ashigaru samurai.
You mean... Yeah, they're actually bow samurai. But that's okay. This is a winnable battle, but it will be very hard fought, and you will need to keep on top of everything within the castle. The idea is, try to stay out of range of his bows, except when he's scaling the walls. You need to have people pressed up against those walls to repel anybody coming in. And rallying and inspiring your troops with your general is very important as well.
You may see our first decisive loss of the day. And even if it is the first, it definitely will not be the last. This is a game where quite often you are met with sheer, insurmountable numbers. Then again, perhaps I will act like the Spartans. 300 holding off all of the Persian forces. Although I don't quite have that type of washboard ab. Is that my archer? No, it's my archer. Oh, it's my archers already at a wall. Okay. They're facing north. I think that's probably the best place to be facing them. Let's start the battle. Alright. I'm gonna move my archers to the southeast wall. Can you give me an ID on the units to the southwest, Dave?
Southwest would be Bo Ashigaru. Then to the southeast you have Bo Samurai, Yari Ashigaru, and the General. Coming in almost due east you have Bo Samurai, Yari Ashigaru, and another General. Oh, sorry, Bo Ashigaru, Yari Ashigaru, and another Yari Ashigaru.
So all I've got coming in from the west is bowmen, so as long as I keep away from the west with everyone else, there shouldn't be too much problem from that side.
Now, my suggestion would be to move your spear units close to the walls where they're approaching. And keep your general back just in case he decides to scale the walls with his bow units, but keep them out of range of the bows just in case as well.
That's definitely some good advice, Dave. My bow range is almost set. Loose your arrows, men. Getting in position on the wall, which will provide them a defensive bonus. I'm going to move my spearmen.
It's important as well to put them in skirmish mode so that when troops start getting up the walls, they can
run away.
Back up. Yep.
Skirmish mode active, which means they are now going to start running. I'm going to have the first unit of spearmen come up. Second unit come there. As well as a ton of samurai.
I would suggest with your Yari Samurai to use their speed bonus.
That's a good call. I'm going to leave just the general behind in the middle to take out those bowmen if they come.
They are actually scaling the wall at your rear. They took the bait, so that unit of bows should fall easily to your general.
General is inbound.
I would switch your samurai retainers to a run and put them to the northeast wall to assist your dwindling unit of Yari Samurai.
That's a good call, Dave. Let's see what's going on over here.
Our general is in grave danger.
No, he's not. He's fighting archers in melee combat. He is in no danger whatsoever. Alright, General, let's rally the troops. And inspire my archers.
Note that there's a range on that particular command, but those bowmen are relatively done. You'll just need to run back and take them out again.
I'm actually rather impressed that I haven't suffered further losses. I'm going to send my daimyo at full speed to the bowmen at the far end.
Now you've routed all of his ground units, save for his one general unit.
And his archers.
His bow samurai will provide you with the most challenge. I would suggest pulling back, so he needs to bring his archers into the castle in order to fight you.
Or charge with my horsemen. They are losing quite heavily.
His general is running towards your general. I would suggest falling back into the castle.
It's a good call. Alright, General, run! Run, General!
Now, since your spear units are essentially just standing there, I would suggest taking them out. The Yari Samurai and the Yari Ashigaru, which are flashing, I would suggest leaving in the castle, and the remainder take to the enemy.
It looks like he's probably run out of arrows at this point. Now the only bad part is, yes, I have held off this army. He has a second army sitting there.
Our men are running from the battlefield. Shameful display!
Wait, what? Those... Oh, look at that! Archers versus archers in melee combat.
Our general has fallen, my lord.
And my general has fallen. I may lose this. I think I've lost this.
You came close. No matter. We'll take them again in the future.
Yes. They are my mortal enemies, after all. Ah, poor guys. They tried their hardest. Tried their darndest.
They really did. The battle was in your favor. I think what your downfall was leaving your rear exposed by moving your general in to inspire your units there.
I honestly thought that unit of archers was far weaker by the time I left, because they were running away. But they must have rerouted themselves, and that was that.
But such is the way. I can't say this with 100% honesty, but we don't plan on cutting anything out. So if we actually lose this entire game, we're going to keep going anyways. I can't say it with complete honesty because we started out and because of a problem with the recording, we didn't get to actually record our first loss.
Yeah, it was a fairly glorious loss. But them's be the breaks.
Yeah. I guess it's another realism factor. If you don't factor in the fact that you can save the game and go back to it, one bad decision, one overzealous move could actually cost you the entire shogunate, which can happen.
However, one mistake on the enemy side and the same can occur.
That's correct. Well, we're playing this on the normal difficulty. There are 3 higher difficulty levels. Our skill level with this game probably isn't matched for those at this time, just yet.
In fact, our skill level may only be just barely matched for the normal difficulty, as we have not played this game since, what, early summer, Dave?
That would, early Canadian summer, early winter for me here in Australia.
Yeah, you and your winter summers and summer winters and... Well, I guess spring and fall are pretty much the same as they are everywhere else, because spring and fall are in between.
That's correct.
Except everything dies in the springtime for you. Comes to life in the fall.
Yes. Except for those two are also switched.
That's why I mentioned that. Speaking of winter, we've got a nice balmy, snowy day outside in Canada, or at least we did today. It's, well, middle of the night right now. Alright, so
And another uneventful turn for me. Just waiting on a few things to finish constructing and building up my armies slowly. And I'm going to take my Metsuke, which is essentially a police officer, and move him further into Imagawa territory. Now, starting as the Tokugawa means that you start out as a vassal of the Imagawa clan, and as their vassal, you can only go to war with people that they decide to go to war with, until, of course, you go to war with them yourself. So currently, I have to wait until I'm powerful enough to take them on before I can go any further. Just going to enter diplomacy quickly. Can see everything's in order, and I'll give the mantle over to Paul.
Fast moving, this small ship carries archers, armed with deadly fire arrows, capable of reducing enemy ships to dust.
That was a nice little introduction video for the Bokuboya. That occurs...
Skilled swordsmen with excellent morale. These warriors are the body and soul of any army.
And also video for Katana Samurai. Anytime you hire a unit for the first time, it shows a little video just introducing that unit to the game for you. My army was crushed. And it looks like currently I have a 0 happiness in my town. It is predicted to drop down significantly though from 0. Currently I have a -5 due to food shortage, and the food shortage is predicted to go away within a turn or two at this point. Now if I wanted to, I could reduce town tax to increase happiness, decrease income, but increase happiness, which is what I'm going to do this turn, just to allow the food shortage to subside and my people to be pleased until then. Now this small little icon, or these two small icons above my units, are improve melee and improve armor. Those are from my blacksmith, as I haven't upgraded to weapon or armor smith, so it's the +1 attack bonus I mentioned, I believe, in the last video. Let's check our way of the mastery. It will be another 2 turns until I learn the strategy of attack, which gives me a +2 charge bonus for all units, and the ability to build a siege engineer workshop and firebomb throwers, which essentially are units throwing Molotov cocktails.
If I remember correctly from our last session of playing this, you did quite enjoy the firebomb throwers.
I remember building a large army of them and just walking up to the enemy castle, and while we used that only for one battle. I had about 10 firebomb throwers that I had in my main army that never actually got used because their range is horribly close. Their range is as far as their arms can throw. And I believe the only time we used it was when we were taking on Higo, wasn't it?
No, it was during the Battle of Kyoto.
Was it the Kyoto battle?
It was, yes. The Battle of Kyoto is obviously, Kyoto being the capital at the time of feudal Japan, is needed for taking control of the game, essentially. If you hold it for a full year or 4 turns, you become shogun, and if you satisfy all the other winning conditions, then you win. That is obviously a far way off from where we are now, though. Okay.
Now, that being said, the Battle of Higo I had referenced. Back when we played last time, Higo was one province I needed to take in order to satisfy my team's victory conditions. Now, Higo was at peace with me for a long time. I couldn't attack them without becoming dishonorable, which is something I will not do. I will not dishonor my name, sully myself by attacking someone who has offered a hand of peace, and that I have accepted. If I haven't accepted it yet, I'll gladly slap it aside, but once I say yes, we'll be in peace, I will not make the first move. Most of the time. By the time it got to the point where I had to take Higo to advance in the game, Higo had as full of an army as you could get. These little lines on the bottom of the banners represent units in your army. Currently, in my capital, I have 3 orange lines and 2 gray lines. These 2 gray lines represent, by my next turn, I will have 2 additional units, because I'm training them. The 3 are the current ones that currently exist. Higo had a full set of lines going all the way up the banner. And he had 2 banners worth of this. So all Dave and I could do, while we both had military access to Higo, because we were at peace with Higo, was surround him, embargo him, and we attacked with a force that the only time we had massed such a force otherwise was on the Battle of Kyoto. It was huge. There were so many units. Our computers started screaming at us, begging for us to please give them mercy as they tried to render thousands of units on the screen. It was quite glorious. I hope to do something near as good in the future.
Perhaps not so much overkill this time, though, because it makes for a more fun battle when it's challenging, that's for sure.
Yeah, we basically had more units than we could know what to do with. We were done the battle before all the units had entered the map, because there's a maximum number that can enter the battle at any time. So you start with X number on the field, which is your maximum, but then as soon as the battle starts, all the other units that are within range and reinforcing just start flooding in from around the borders. So it was like an ant farm of soldiers everywhere.
Yes. And I've just recruited some units and moved my Metsuke further into enemy territory, and I'll pass it over to Paul just while he's starting out his turn. Metsuke have a few abilities. They can arrest enemy agents, they can bribe enemy armies, they can also bribe enemy settlements. So have you the money, you can actually buy a town from an enemy. It is considered an act of war, same with bribing an army. The other function that they have is placed within a friendly army or settlement. They can protect against enemy ninja and enemy agents, as well as actually protect against as well as improve public order if in a settlement.
Alright, now, I've built 2 buildings while Dave was talking, or queued 2 buildings to be built. I'm upgrading my harbor 1 additional time to a trading post. This will allow me to build trade vessels and start trading with foreign traders to gain additional currency. Excuse me. In addition, I've used one of my castle town's empty building slots to build a sake den. Sake dens are used to recruit ninjas, which are just so much fun. They are like the anti-Metsuke. They are assassins. They go in and kill things, sabotage things, generally mess things up. But the Metsuke can then find them and arrest them if the Metsuke catches them. If they don't, the Metsuke can also be killed by them. Subterfuge is so much fun.
They can also act as a spy, increasing the sightlines from a given settlement, or as a spy for an army, helping to protect against enemy ninjas. Ninjas can also assassinate pretty much any character in the game, including generals, geisha, and monks, Metsuke, and other ninja as well.
One of the more enjoyable jobs as a ninja is to jump in and sabotage the gates. By sabotaging the gates to a castle city, you are able to essentially walk up to the gate and open it. You no longer need to climb the walls to open the gate. It's accessible from the outside.
Yes.
It's again Dave's turn. It's winter once again, so I'm guessing it's now 1547? No, 1546. Is the end of 1546 right now. We have not done much expansion. Most of Japan is still a nicely happy drawn map with all the various provinces.
Now I'm just on my turn. I'm considering taking the Totomi province from the east, which will essentially start my war against the Imagawa. But before I do that, I am going to take some troops out of Owari, the province I've just taken over, into Mikawa, just to increase my chances of winning there. And just overseeing a few things, and we'll let Paul have his turn.
With speed, maneuverability, and strength, this ship has many uses. However, its versatility makes it less effective than more specialized ships.
And that is a medium bune. And I have now mastered the way of attack. I am now going to study the way of the bow. Once learned, the way of the bow allows archers to fire flaming arrows. I like flaming arrows.
You like a lot of flaming things, my friend.
Oh ho ho, sexual orientation joke, Dave. That was clever.
Hey, I got no problem with anybody, but sometimes it's still funny.
That is completely fair, my friend. Completely fair. Alright, now that my improved irrigation has been completed, I am no longer at a food shortage. That being said, I'm going to go back into Iwate's taxes and raise them back up to the middle again. Normal taxes. Tax level is still affecting growth, but no longer affecting public. We can do with a little bit of loss of public order, as we currently have +7 as our public order ratio. And it's going to predict an additional 2 for culture. So next turn it's predicting we'll have 9. I'm not sure what culturally is being predicted, though. This is
The Sakeden.
Oh yes, I forgot the Sakeden provided that. I am also going to take my boats and pull them around to the north of the island. Oh! I found the Megami boats. So we are going to do a naval battle. However, they have 2 highly damaged boats. I don't know who they were fighting, but they're near dead. So I'm just going to auto-resolve this battle.
The beauty of auto-resolving in naval battles is they are quite time-consuming, and generally the advantage is played well. Also, boats don't replenish automatically, but if you put them into a port, you can repair them. And having won a battle, you can also capture enemy units at some points, which Paul doesn't appear to have done this time.
No, there were none to capture. I'm not sure who hit them, but they were pretty much already destroyed by the time I got to them. There's no one else really that I need to deal with there. So I am going to end my turn. The counterattack on Uwa is going to have to wait until I can build up a sizable enough army to wipe them from the face of this great and glorious Nippon. Are you sure, Dave, you want to engage into war with the Imagawa? It looks like the people to your east are already getting attacked in war. Or sorry, the people to your west are already being attacked, so you may have a better bet against them, since their forces are, their attention is divided.
Your attention. It's funny that you should mention attention, but that's alright. The reason that I can't attack the Hattori to the west is because I am still a vassal of the Imagawa, so I can only go to war with their enemies. In other words, I need to take out the Imagawa before I can do pretty much anything else.
You're their vassal?
Yep, I started as their vassal.
That's kind of painful.
Yeah.
As a vassal, you essentially are a servant. You do what your owner says to do. They allow you to still run your country the way, or your clan the way you run it, as long as you do it the way they tell you that you want to do it. In a sense, you go to war with their enemies, you are at peace with their allies, and you can't do much against them unless you decide to attack them and say...
That is correct. Currently just doing diplomatic relations with the Hakeyatama clan, and so far they've been willing to give me quite a lot of money. More than 4,000 koku, but less than 7,000. We'll try for 6,000.
When I get into a position of diplomacy, I'll show you what Dave means with these requests for money. When you're offering something diplomatically, there are some key words that the diplomat will use, such as something could be arranged, or this would be acceptable. Something could be arranged means they are willing to do what you're wanting to do, but not to the extent that you're requesting. So if you request 5,000 koku, and they said we may be able to come to an agreement, something can be arranged, it means if you lower the amount of koku, they may accept, but they're not giving you 5,000. So you play with the amounts, trying to get them to say, this is acceptable, at the highest value you can get them to do so.
Now obviously you could be really nitpicky and spend half an hour finding the exact amount of dollars, but I generally tend to go in sets of 500s. So my initial request of 4,000 was the maximum that they're willing to give, but I'm definitely wanting that.
Getting other clans to give you money is one of the better ways to get trade set up. And speaking of trade, Dave, it looks like you and I now have a trading route.
We do, yes.
We
have an open trading route.
Oh no, that's not me and you, that's you and my allies to the south.
The Hakeyatama.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, them. As my trading port is not complete yet.
Now, I think that'll be all for this particular episode, but stay tuned for the next one, which will definitely be uploaded soon. And Paul, you can do your outro.
Thank you very much, Dave. Yeah, so we're going to call it a video here. We've been playing for about 45 minutes to an hour. I don't know. I don't have the timer on the screen with me right now. Thank you again for tuning in to Late Night Games here. We'll probably be doing more multiplayer sessions with Dave or with various other people over the next coming weeks and months. Also, if you have any comments, positive or negative, please feel free to leave them in the comments section below. Hit a like or subscribe if you want to keep up to date on more of these Let's Play videos as they come out. You can also check us out on Facebook and or Twitter. Links down in the comments section below. And I hope you all have an enjoyable evening, and thank you very much.